Good morning, everyone. What are we in for today? I don't think much. Things yesterday was the resting day, which was anticipated. We talked about that pre-market yesterday. Why? Because after, the wide range day typically comes a narrow range day. And well, we see the wide range day here on the futures, you know, looking at spiders and Qs and such. We had the big gap up and, one in the morning and was a lot of going nowhere on this day after the initial move. And so yesterday was a choppy, go nowhere kind of a day. And everybody's waiting for the economic news at the end of the week. And of course, the big tariff thing the following week. So we got all that uncertainty to deal with until, economic news and tariff news. So what do we do here? Well, until proven otherwise, I suppose buy dips, anticipating that it's going to go up, depending on what you're looking at. So, um, different time periods, different support areas, but look, if prices should come down into this area, and that would be down near yesterday's low, look for stabilization and maybe get back up to the top of the trading range or somewhere in between, because unless prices, clear this resistance area or break down below this support, probably not going to have much going on here. And so we've got an established trading range looking at the S&Ps, pivot highs, pivot lows, maybe a higher pivot low there in the area of this one. So we need another bar there after this one to form, which has still got a little less than 5 minutes to go. So we need another hour or so to go. And at that point, relatively tight, go nowhere kind of thing. There is room to go up before reaching some minor resistance. And I look at the moving average is always going to say, when you're looking at a futures contract like the S&Ps or the NASDAQ, while that moving average is something other traders are going to be looking at, you really got to look at, the NDX or the Qs to really get what I would think a reference point that's going to be of a greater influence, because that's what the rest of the world is looking at. So inside day so far, going nowhere, just marking time. Not very exciting. Same thing with the NASDAQ. There was a little bit more upside. Tesla was moving. Amazon moved a little bit. So far, just an inside day, chopping back and forth. Patterns like this, just stay away from. Look for something else. Look for the higher time frame for something more substantial. Um, and we really don't have anything substantial on the 65-minute. The momentum has slowed, obviously, narrow range bar, and this is going nowhere. It has room to move up. So the dip, the dip could be intraday substantial, but the move that started from here until at least we get a close under a prior day's low or some kind of big topping tail bar or a failure bar, would assume this is going to try and work its way up toward an area of resistance. Right now, again, just uncertainty and going nowhere. So stay away. Always look across other markets, and I would say a little bit better, but not substantially. But trading range, pivot lows, pivot highs. So you look at the daily chart. You got a pseudo 1, 2, 3. Resistance is over there to the left. Maybe clear the highs. We'll see what happens. Um, you know, this certainly looks better on the 5 minute. I suppose something in the Dow is moving. That this looks a little better. Uh, but so far, just an inside day. Moving up a little bit here. Russell, which we always look at, inside day, and 65-minute. So use the pivots, the prior pivots as reference points to anticipate where buyers are going to be, right, for intraday trades, and then go to your smaller time frame to look for stabilization. And then we see if it gets up to the priors and what they do from there. So it's made the turn, it's marking time, maybe another little bit more marking time, maybe the economic reports, things could break out, you know, tomorrow. And of course we'll see what today brings, but so far, nothing more here than just chopping sideways. NVIDIA's dancing. NVIDIA's down in a mess. I don't know where things are pre-market, but here are the big market cap stocks. And, Apple yesterday, the slide said, could Apple and Microsoft play some catch up since they had, these go nowhere days, the prior days. So Apple moved up a little bit. Microsoft did nothing. If you look intraday, this has got room to go. But NVIDIA just marking time here. I don't know where it is pre-market. I don't know how I have these things set up if they're going to show what's happening pre-market. I'd have to have it on 24 hours, and I'm not sure I do. But anyway, certainly look. But if it can clear yesterday's high, probably goes up to the pivot. You got unfilled gaps, some more substantial than others, like Amazon, which gapped up a larger amount, and it's got room to move up. Google got room to move up before hitting resistance. Meta backed off, and you can see, Tesla came back from the dip yesterday. So on candlestick patterns, which I don't put a lot of weight on as to, that being, look, when we look at this in a very simplistic way, small candle body means that momentum has stalled, right? But buyers bought the dip and it came back up. It's at the 200. You got resistance over here. Ideally, it does go sideways here a little bit, and then it can continue, moving higher, but that's yet to be seen. So you want to see where these things are gapping this morning. Netflix up at the pivot high, so that's likely to stall. And Broadcom, semiconductors, doing nothing compared to the others. Costco got room. So you want to look at this intraday. Walmart, bad day yesterday. They're just chopping back and forth. And financials. Right? So this is, big cap financial stock showing relative strength. So financials outperforming the rest. Let's go back to come on. All right. Gold up a little bit. Most things are just doing nothing, waiting for more news. Yesterday we talked about that this accelerated, and typically things stall after an acceleration, similar to how we look at wide range bars. After wide range bars, like prior day, the wide range bar, things stall. So how you look at multiple time frames, right? We looked at the wide range bar on the S&Ps a minute ago, and that wide range bar, things typically, momentum slows and they slow down. So after an accelerated move, multiple bars, things typically slow down and consolidate. Oil is up a little bit today. It's coming up toward this resistance area. So take a look at oil stocks, see. Well, that's already made a move, and others like this. I saw this just kind of messy, but you got to look around oil stocks. You got drillers and different, subsectors of oil. So you got to look at them and see which ones are in favor and which ones are not. Interest rates aren't doing much. And see, nothing's really doing much right now, but there's the potential. And you look at the 65-minute here, and if we'll see what happens, tomorrow and the next day, if it can clear these pivots, it's got room, to move higher, but we'll see if it can clear the pivots. Yesterday was a gap up and sell off but overall, just nothing going on there. Volatility index coming down to a major support area. And so while it came up here, this is where you look to the left and you see, a prior resistance area. Typically, that's going to give you a good reference point where the markets would stabilize. And it doesn't always coincide with coming down to support because, volatility coming down is really somewhat of a sign of confidence, different market environments. But as it comes down here, we anticipate that it's going to stabilize. But as I said, we got all of this news coming out. So we'll see what it does. But just, you look at the more uncertainty there is, the more you look around for different things. And typically with volatility index, we just set alerts up near prior highs. And, is it coming down? It's all good. And then you take a look at this, other than you getting your alert, you just, check it out, every other day or once a week and just see where it is. Yeah. Transports, they didn't do much or anything yesterday, moved up a little bit and just marked time. So when you see you see this red bar here, right? You got this bottoming price action. It looks like there's room to go up. You never really know absolutely what's inside, smaller time frames, or when you look at the higher time frame, what's inside the smaller. But when you look at this and you say, oh, gap up, wide range bar, it's consolidating. This still looks good, right? It looks good as long as it doesn't come back down here. So what does it do today? Does it mark time? Set an alert at this pivot. When it gets up there, what does it do? So if for whatever reason transports start to show some relative strength, that would be a positive for the markets. And they got plenty of room to go up. And you see it's down here on this big support level. So again, higher time frames, factory work, big support. Set your alert. Gets down there, look at smaller time frames, so on and so forth. And that's why we call it factory work. It doesn't take anything special to look to the left and set alerts. All right. Gaps of substantial. And so Qs. Slowing momentum yesterday. No big deal here. Where are they this morning? Gapping down a little bit. You got resistance up there. You got a 200. I suspect not much is going to materialize today, but we'll see, where it ends. And you've got support. You want a short-term basis anyway, bring this here. This should not fill the gap, right? We talked about this, that gap up, it should not fill that gap. Right? Regardless of what the news is, right? This gap up started to move. Now, this is in a downtrend. The weekly is, depending on what you look, it's certainly not in an uptrend anymore. That's for sure. But it has the potential to move up. Doesn't mean it's going to. Right? It just means it has the potential. But if it comes back down here, you know that you're either building a bigger base or it's going to break lower. So right now, and you just got trading, a big intraday trading range going on. So that's why we're doing here, putting things in perspective. I'll finish up with spiders, which you can see here are doing nothing. Momentum came to a screeching halt with a little narrow body. You've got support and resistance. And SPX, nothing ever got even close to being touched yesterday because things didn't move. See where things are at here today. Things moved down a little bit. I'd love to be below 5,700, but we don't always get what we want, but that's still pretty far away. So any downward move, 5,705, but right now it looks like 5,710. For now, things don't go anywhere. Also, still below here in the gap, so probability of going down there is small, very small. And let's call it 58.25, which is same as yesterday. Odds are neither one will be touched. All yours, Dan.
Morning. Yeah, I think another boring day, but as I said yesterday, hourly charts are bullish, so slow and steady. We have a ton of open bullish positions in the advisory letter. So it makes them easy to manage if it's slow and steady. I don't have any alarms going off. That's another testament to nothing's going on. Actually, I had this one ALNQ alarm go off. This was we posted yesterday. And today's MT Live, we're talking about relative strength weakness. Next week, we decided to do one called, beaten down patterns. But what do I do? Because that's been, and we've been trading a lot of good beaten down ones, but you need a reversal, you need a pattern, you need a void, you need a something something bar. And so that this is an example of that. So I got a retest, 20 MA starting to flatten out, closing breakout, 1, 2, 3, and a void. There you have it. There's exhibit A to how we trade this beaten down stock. And there's been a ton of climos and breakouts. So I was grabbing a bunch of charts. So that's good to go. Hopefully, let's see the cap up. Yeah, it's not excessive. We could do a 5-minute high, but hopefully we get a little small pullback of that. That's tier one. Let's go right to earnings. I do not have any other alarms. Like GME, big old gap up here. Remember GameStop? This was the Reddit boys were created that short squeeze, made the movie out of it. Then I heard on the news, which I'm sure is part of the psychological excitement of their earnings, was that the board is going to allow them to start investing in Bitcoin. I just don't understand that. I just don't know. I told you, I think crowd psychology is so amazing. These Buffetts and hedge funds say, "Oh, I've been accumulating a stock. Oh, okay, so now let's cap it up 10% today. So why is this capping up so much? Just because they can now go buy Bitcoin at market price. It just makes no sense to me. But we don't trade cents, we trade charts, right? We trade what is. Same with I started in the dot-com bubble in the late 90s. So we were trading all kinds of stocks that the stupid media always paints a story, and they're like, oh no, you don't want to have a PE, you don't want earnings, because otherwise that means you're not investing in your future. So all these companies that had zero fundamentals were just going to the moon. It was an insane time. TOI, it's extended. Yeah, need a pullback. Pays they're beaten down stock, right? There you go, beaten down stock. What do I do with it? Well, I had a breakdown failure. Look at the volume on a red bar. Now we're gapping over a red bar. So that could be, well, I might say if the problem is the gap's too big now that I look at it. Because I'd say the target is 3 to 320, and if it's already at 265, I'm not sure about the reward to risk. 43 bucks bullish gap, but trading range. Let's see that these are overlapping bars. There's no void. It's all overlapping bars. There's no void. You want this IONQ is a void. See this fluid move down? So my target is 50 MA, which corresponds with this breakdown over here. So WOR, no interest. This recent IPO, Beta Bionics, so maybe a bio. We better go look. But potential W bottom, higher low plus. So that's going on the list. Raul on YouTube, Charlie Bravo above yesterday's high. Yeah, somebody set up. Sure. I set up at the 50 uptrend, bullish weekly, monthly. Yeah, I like it. I'll set an alarm 292. Alex TTD up alarm. Wow, I had an alarm at 6250. There it is. But you you had a nice entry on that. Set my alarm higher. Toss. Wow, that's a big pre-market move. 204, but no pattern. It's a could be a put spread candidate if there's any juice. And if it stalls here and pulls back, then a condor idea. PX down, could be a 30-minute low, short. There's a void all the way to the 200 here. Dollar Tree. So, I don't know what else this company does, but they said they're spinning off their Dollar Tree brand. And it's like, oh, okay, well then what the heck are you going to be left with? You know?
An analyst was talking about it today on one of the news channels.
So what are they left with?
I don't know, but they said basically, the way they are, you guys, it's undervalued. But they were talking a little bit about how did it get there, and the mistakes they made, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
All right, so this Chewy is a bullish gap. This could 5-minute high. I like it as a put spread if there's any juice at 32. Sale, no pattern, recent IPO. That's a beautiful continuation shorts. Can you hear that in my tonality? So that's tier one. Let's see what it does at the open. TTAM. Wow, so the third one of these that they're recent IPOs and have earnings already. But that looks like an intermediate term bottom. That in the window. AKS is another solar stock. There was one yesterday, CSIQ, which now looks like possible short. I gave TAN long puts under Monday's low. Didn't trigger yet. Rex gapping up $40. That's a big old gap, but excessive to me. Put spread if there's any juice. 650. That could be a 30-minute high. That has room to go up. Look at all these overlapping bars. I don't like the way that trades, and then it gave it up, so nothing there. Can marijuana stock, another piece of garbage going nowhere. And that's all the earnings. These are miscellaneous things. WRD. This, we actually traded this on this first bottoming pattern. So that this is another example of next week MT live beaten down. What do I do? Well, we got a little 2-day trade there and then got out. But now it's a retest. I got my alarm up here at 1660. ACLX, Roger Dodger mentioned this one to me. It'd be a good put spread, but look at all these overlapping bars. Charlie Foxtrot, a short watch, closing breakdown. These are all Cypher here. It's gapping down, so I'm gonna now put a new up alarm. How about 985? Feeling something. All right, our Humana is moving. I posted that as a directional also. Okay, yeah, I was bidding some of my put spread. That was not one of the bills. Oh, ILNQ, yeah, sure. Forgot about him. Yeah, it looks good. I could see it chasing. Let's try to buy a pullback 2640. $650. Wow, that's a already 2.3 million. Man, oh man, oh man. That is crazy volume within 1 minute. Yeah, that was a tier 1 of mine. All right, look at this tiger here in the middle. It's right here in the 15-minute chart. This could be a home run entry. I had that 50% pullback yesterday. This, if it were to close like this, it'd be a no-brainer. If you wanted to do a third lot right here, stop yesterday's low. Not bad. All right, the do that I said was a short idea. See, the little gap messed it up. TTAM, nothing. EFXT, up alarm. Let's move stop 788. Oh, we're selling off here. So that means I'm chilling. Yeah, cues. We're back to the old, cues and spiders are stair stepping. And the IWM diamonds 5 minute are stair stepping, the 15 minutes are different. Oh, really, Alex? Okay, then I'm gonna cancel that for the directional. The column hasn't triggered, but I still like it. Daily 15 minute OPFI. Looks like it's stopping. Yeah, it's stopping at a profit. Something's up with that today. That's one nasty bar. Things aren't doing much here. Cisco, if this had a bigger void, like if this identical bottoming process was down here at 56 to 58, that would be beautiful. But you can do a put spread if there's any cues. AMD was a bottoming pattern. IBM, Craig mentioned yesterday, but daily's a mess. SRAD alarm, but that's early alarm. L Lima, Brenda's trade, doing good. We're up a buck and change now. Lifer. Now Zypher, bottom of pattern. Maybe a 30-minute high. I'll keep an eye on it. Mhm. Yeah, Humana still looks great. I like the pattern, but I don't like the spreads. Mm, there's no void. Put spread is fine, but there's nothing over there, John. That's same with the one that Roger Duggar asked me about. Yeah, see that as a void after going sideways 4 days. So McDonald's, John, I like a whole lot better. Just for a trade into the void, put spread also and check 305. X-ray, we have short puts. There's no juice on McDonald's. Oh, X is flying here. I don't like the retracement now, Jim, so no, no, stay away from it. Don't like the retracement. Yep, stay away. But I'm gonna post it for opens because that's what I told them to do, but I pulled them. SMCI low alarm, all right, that's on probation now. That should not have happened. Market is a mess right now. ADX for my brother. Fine. All right, Cage, these trail stuffing out, I tighten the stuff.